Pullman Public Schools Board of Directors. We'll begin with the flag salute. Aaron, do you mind giving us the flag salute, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next I'd like to read the land acknowledgement statement. Pullman Public Schools reside on the homelands of the Nimiipuu Nez Perce people. We express our deepest respect for and gratitude towards the original and current stewards of this land. We acknowledge our role in building mutual respect and connections to support current and future generations. Next, we'll approve the agenda. Dr. Maxwell, are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
There are no changes to the agenda this evening.
All righty, seeing no changes, entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Was that 3, Craig? Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Perfect, no worries. All right, the motion passes. Thank you. Next, we'll go to reports, correspondence, and programs. We'll begin with board reports, and Craig.
I had the opportunity to attend the kickoff event at the high school to get my picture taken for the board. I don't know if you guys have all done that, but it was very nice. Lots of people there, lots of obviously school people there, getting all the things done that we need to enroll students and get them set up for classes. But there are also other community entities there that was also very good to forge those connections with, for the school district to forge connections with all the folks that are out there also supporting our students. So it was just a nice event and well done and very orderly. So it was very, very well done.
Good. Thank you, Craig. Lisa?
Yeah, I just have 2 things. I was able to attend the Kiwanis kickoff meeting last week for Stuff the Bus, which is a really great community tradition that I've seen around for a number of years, but it was really great to hear about the full history. And like a lot of things, once you know about it, you start to see it all over the place and realize how much work goes into it each year. So really great tradition, really grateful for all the people who are involved in that. The kickoff meeting we had, Amanda was also there from the board, and then we had really great representation from building administrators and district leadership, so it was great to see, how groups coming together can really make a difference. So if you haven't heard about it, this is school supplies for kids. It's been going on a lot of years and makes a big difference, and it was great to hear some of the perspectives of principals as well about how it actually works in the buildings. It'd be great to just have the community's ongoing support in getting the word out that if kids need supplies, the community's making that happen. Also, just a quick thank you. It concludes tomorrow, the summer lunches, but that program's been really successful, at least from a kid and parent perspective. My kids love going to that. Lunch is basically their favorite thing during the school year and the summer. But one thing I've noticed that I just wanted to point out is that it's open to all youth in the community, ages 1 to 18, and there's a lot of kids who are coming to that event or the lunches every day who aren't even yet enrolled in our schools, and I think it's just really great that that's their first experience with our district and that they'll feel really comfortable when it is their time to join us. So that's all I got.
Hey, thank you, Lisa. Aaron?
Yeah, Lincoln Middle School had their Spartan startup today, and I think tomorrow also is continuing. So if you missed it today, go tomorrow. Like Craig, shout out to all the administrators and teachers and everything for getting there and getting everything ready. It was a great start. A lot of different looks on the faces of the students. Some excited, some maybe not so excited, but that going on today and tomorrow as well. That's all I have.
Thank you, Aaron. I've got nothing to report this evening, so we'll just go right to Bob and do the superintendent's report.
Yeah, a lot of things, and some of the things I was going to mention have been covered by the board, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate their attendance at those activities. I know you have full-time jobs as well, but it's nice getting out there and visiting and seeing the partnerships that also support the school district. So start off with some shout outs. We learned this week, and I haven't had a chance to post this out yet, but Melissa Mayer was selected as the Washington Association CTE Teacher Excellence Award for 2025. And Jill Bickelhoff received CTE Administrator of the Year. So 2 for 2 with that, and those are very big awards, a lot of competition across the state, and so a shout out to them. So we just got that news, I think, last week, so, but we'll definitely be putting that out and congratulating them when they return. So, so great news, great things happening with our staff. With that, just to let you know, we do have some administrators and staff up at the Professional Learning Communities training up in Spokane. That, as you know, is one of our primary initiatives, and we had some credits left over. And so we're using those credits to support some teachers and administrators in that work. It is sold out in Spokane, and we lobbied hard to bring that, just not always happen in Seattle, but having it in Spokane. And actually now they have it in both Seattle and Spokane, but great opportunity. So we were up there today, we'll be up there tomorrow and half day Friday. So it was a nice toasty warm drive back from Spokane this afternoon. So also let's see what else, a couple things going on. Just want to shout out to Pullman Regional Pullman Regional Hospital. They had the 5th quarter rally last Friday, and great turnout, and that helps raise funds to support athletic trainers in Potlatch, Colton, Garpal, and Pullman. And so just another example, great event, well attended. So again, just another example. So spent some great time there, and they raised quite a bit of money to help support that program, which benefits our students and our staff as well. Also just want to remind folks that Lentil Festival is right around the corner. And so Pullman Education Foundation will have a booth, as well as the Pullman School District will have a booth. And so a little bit of competition this year to attract folks and get a chance to share about our partnership. And so Pullman Education Foundation will also be taking donations, and they help support a myriad of things, from teachers' grants to consumable supplies to a variety of things. So shout out to them, and building administrators will be manning the booth throughout the day and evening, and so we're looking forward to that. It's always a great time. We will have Otter Pops and stickers available, so stop by. Very popular, so we're looking forward to that. Also, just wanted to share enrollment update. Head count looks pretty good right now.
Good.
Remember how head count is different from FTE, which is full-time equivalents. They're not necessarily the same. A part-time student is a full head count, but only gets funded for part-time. So
You're watering down the good news here.
I know, but at least the head count numbers are up, which is good news. They're not down. So now it's just a matter of what the FTE really comes in at. Of course, who doesn't show up, and so by the 4th day of school, we'll have a more accurate number for you. But at least right now, the head counts are looking pretty good. So, and about on target with what we expected. So,
Okay, good.
For example, I think kindergarten's at 177, and we were hoping to get 180. So, with that, I think I'll save the next for the community of belonging update. So,
Okay, perfect, thank you. Any questions for Bob? All right, and then we'll move to the community of belonging update. Bob, you got anything for that?
yeah, so
Okay.
I just received news that the Nez Perce Nation has awarded us a $9,500 grant, which will involve time and memorial training and storytelling for our staff as part of our October 10th Lit Day, as well as working with our teaching staff and our outdoor ed program to incorporate time and memorial into our outdoor education program. As you know, they go to Camp Wooten each year, which is a Nez Perce traditional fishing, hunting, and gathering grounds. And so be great partnership. So I think Monday I go down to accept the check, I think. So, but again, one of the things that we are trying to do is increase that partnership and also increase our understanding and with the tribes. So excited to see how this goes. So.
All right, thank you, Bob. Okay. Next we'll move to public comment. The public comment section, actually, do we have anyone signed up? Because I can maybe save a couple paragraphs.
You're not.
All right, nice. I'm just going to move right through it then. Next is the consent agenda. To expedite business at a board meeting, the board approves the use of a consent agenda, which includes items considered to be routine in nature. Any item which appears on the consent agenda may be removed from the agenda by a member of the board and voted on separately. The remaining items will be voted on by a single motion. Would anyone like to remove anything from the consent agenda this evening? All right.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you. Next, we will move into a public hearing. In brief, the public hearing is, I got to read this whole script, and so if y'all just bear with me. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing of the 2025-2026 budget. The board will now recess into a public hearing to listen to public comment on the 2025-2026 budget. No action will be taken during the public hearing. We will then resume the regular board meeting. Per Board Policy 1410, the rules governing a public hearing are as follows. People who have signed the register will be allowed up to 5 minutes to speak on the topic. The president may permit one speaker to yield their time to another speaker. No one speaker may speak a second time until all others on the register have been allowed to speak. The president may cause opposing views to alternate. The president may adjust the rules to facilitate the discussion. Speakers will use the microphones when addressing the board, and speakers will identify themselves. So at this time, I will invite any member of the public to the podium to comment on the 2025-2026 budget. For the second time, I would like to invite any member of the public to the podium to comment on the 2025-2026 budget. For a third time, I would like to invite any member of the public to the podium to comment on a 2025-2026 budget. Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing for the 2025-2026 budget, and we will now reconvene back to our regular open public board meeting. The next item on the agenda is action items. I think that was a note for myself, but I'm just going to say it. Okay.
No, that's great.
Jumping right into action items. They have been previously discussed by the board, and we'll begin with Mr. Polstead. Please come on up. The Zen Solar Power Purchase Agreement.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. When we spoke, it's been a couple weeks since we last chatted about Zen Solar, and there were lots of really strong questions from the board. And I was able to go back and do some research and talk with David from Zen and provided informational items to you to hopefully answer those questions that had come up. Had not received anything beyond those questions and answers that were provided, but happy to try to answer anything else that we have tonight. Also, an update from Zen today, just sent some follow-up information that they sent a nice picture of. They just finished work at Harrington, and so their solar panels are on Harrington and up and running, so, yeah.
Cool. Are there any questions for Justin?
Just thank you for all the answers to the questions.
Sure.
That was well done.
Thank you.
Need a motion. I'm just trying to get
No
to
worries,
the right.
absolutely.
I was trying to get to the executive summary page. I move approval of the Zen Solar Power Purchase Agreement.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the Zen Solar Power Purchase Agreement. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you, Justin.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we will move to, Diane Hoach, please come up. Next, we'll move to the 2025-2026 budget presentation, and you have the floor.
So I have not had any questions or concerns from anyone regarding the budget. Positive comments. A couple people came into our office and just said thank you, and so that was appreciated. But we're just asking that the board approve the budget as recommended.
Are there any questions for Diane?
I move that we approve the 2025-2026 fiscal year budgets as presented in Resolution 252601.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2025-2026 budget. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Diane. All right, next, Ryan Mulvey, please come on up for the 2025-2026 state and federal grants approval.
Thank you, good evening. Just wanted to do a quick little update. Since we last spoke about the grants, you may have paid attention to the news and saw that the federal government is going to now release some money that was previously being held. So we still don't have the exact amounts, what that will mean for us, but that's good news. We thought we had it covered anyway, or it was gonna be tight, but at least we're gonna get those title funds that were in question. So as you know, each year, the district applies for multiple state and federal grants. The complete list is provided for you in the matrix and what they go towards, with the exception of the highly capable grant, which requires separate action. Our board of directors takes action to approve these grants. So I haven't received any further questions from last time, but I'm happy to answer any that you may have today.
Lisa, please.
Yeah, just for the ones that are still being determined the exact amount, is that something we get an update on, or is there a place other people in the community could look to see what those amounts end up being?
That's a great question. I think I can update them as soon as we have those and provide those for you. Yeah.
Good question, Lisa. Any other?
Just because I understand that the federal money comes to the state and then the state allocates it to the districts.
Mhm.
So that's what we're waiting for, is to see what
Yeah.
the state allocation to the districts.
Yep.
Aaron, please.
Well, and I think part of Lisa's question too is, are there places this is posted online so like community members can see which ones we've been awarded or not?
That is a great question, and being here for about 6 weeks, I'm not 100% sure, but I can get back to you on that.
Thank you, Ryan. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I would just maybe, I'm not sure if this is the right place, but maybe something when it's finalized, we could just have it as an informational item, just the same format or something, so that it's at least in our records.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question, because if we're approving it now with amounts, would we need to approve it later if the amounts change, or we finally get the money in, or is this like the only time we would need to take action on the grants?
I'm going to defer to Diane.
You know, I'm not sure. I don't have the answer to that. We typically do this later in the year, and but this year we ended up doing sooner in the year. I think we usually take it in November or something, but.
Okay.
So it's kind of an odd year because nothing's really been approved yet, so.
So do you mind, Ryan, if I may, just like make a note to like let us know, and just a quick note or something when everything is finalized?
Mhm.
And then we can kind of pivot back to the federal grant question later, as far as if we want to put all that out there or whatever, right? Because I think that'd probably be bigger than just, a little bit. But we could just post this, right? Like, thank you, federal government, for all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. But no, I would say just if you could remind us, and then is that sufficient, Lisa, or do you think?
Yes, I was just thinking like, as long as it's within our packets, I consider that, publicly available. I just want to make sure we have a definitive final version that we could point people
Yeah,
to
good
later
idea.
on if they were wondering exactly what it was for this year.
Yeah, and sometimes the state amounts can change even into January, where sometimes, for example, some other districts don't spend all their money, they sometimes reallocate the money, but this will at least give you a very close baseline of our funding. And then, again, we can come back with an informational, maybe in November, to say, here's what we received between August and if there's any changes in the numbers, so.
So Lisa, it's also based on our enrollment, so it's
Yeah.
going to fluctuate all the time throughout the year.
Okay. Yeah, I
Those
guess,
are all good
then I'm
points.
fine with that unless there's anything that is, maybe there's just a threshold, and you could, based on your judgment of like a threshold of different than what we expected to be.
Yeah, if they come back and say, you're getting nothing, we would love to see that.
Yeah, I think,
I'll be sure to let you know on that
yeah,
one.
ordinarily, I don't think it's a big deal. I think there's just enough volatility this year that it's
Yeah.
nice to be able to keep a close
Sure.
eye on it.
That's a good point. Are there any other questions for Ryan?
I move approval of the 2025-2026 state and federal grants approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2025-2026 state and federal grants approval. Are there any questions on the motion? Hold on, Ryan. All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Ryan. You may go. Just in case there were questions. Justin, please come on up for 25-26 school meal prices.
Okay, for our school meal prices, we talked at our last meeting about the Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010, and that every year since then, we update this and update the prices of the meals. There were no questions at the time, but if there are any questions now, I'm happy to answer those. One of the pieces of, this is pretty consistent every year, but the difference this year is that we're adding Franklin will also be free and reduced this year as well,
That's awesome.
as Kamiak and Jefferson.
Any questions for Justin?
No, I move approval of the 2025-2026 school meal prices.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2025-2026 school meal prices. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, the motion passes. Thank you, Justin. I believe you are still up there, though.
Yes.
Sorry, your name was on the second line. For the 2025-2026 clubs and fundraisers.
Yes, so as we discussed last time, clubs and fundraisers, not overly exciting this year because there weren't really any changes to the list. So we went over that and kind of discussed how probably do a lot of new admin and just keeping things where we are for now on these things and make changes as the year goes on, but kind of right where we were last year. But if there's any questions, happy to answer.
I move approval of the 2025-2026 clubs and fundraisers.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2025-2026 clubs and fundraisers. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Justin, don't leave yet.
Yes.
Prime vendor contract renewal. Go ahead.
Yes. So this is again where we co-op with Spokane schools to go in on that prime vendor piece. And there was a really nice question that came up. And the question last time was in regards to how much money, do we know how much money we've saved over the years by being a part of this co-op? And I didn't know, and so I talked with Jessica Campbell, our nutrition services director, and she said that's a really tough answer because it's not like they do 2% lower than any other group, for the last 15 years. She even talked about it's not necessarily always a bunch of financial savings. Sometimes the prices are very, very close, but because we get to purchase in bulk from these groups, usually the produce is better. It's usually one truck that comes down with all the things we need as opposed to 3 or 4 delivery trucks. And so it's not always just the financial piece of it being cheaper, but we save over time with not having to work deliveries as much, having better produce and meals for our kids. So that was her answer to that question.
Well, thank you for finding that out, Justin.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
I move approval of the prime vendor contract renewal.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the prime vendor contract renewal. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you very much, Justin.
Thank you.
And here, just real quickly, is our committee assignments and school assignments for our representative schools. Not anything has changed. I haven't really heard any comments. Are there any comments or questions? Yes.
I know we discussed this, but just as a question for the community, we're not getting rid of deprioritizing communication just by changing that committee, that served a purpose at one point, and that's an ongoing thing that we're talking about with our communication plan. Is that a correct understanding?
Oh, yeah, sure, good point. No, so the Communications Advisory Committee has not met in this year, so we didn't convene it this year, but can always be convened should we need to, right? But we have not yet changed anything in that regard. All right, any other questions?
Move approval of the annual organizational meeting.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and approved that it's been moved and seconded that we approve the annual organizational meeting document. Are there any questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes, thank you. Next, we'll move to discussion items. And first, Diane Hodge, come up for the Resolution 242512, cancellation of outstanding warrants.
So every year, we are required to come to the board to have the board approve the cancellation of warrants that have not been redeemed within a year. And so these are the two warrants that we have that have not been redeemed. We've reached out 3 times, more with one of them, who said they would redeem it and never did, and it's been such a long time that we're just finally sending it to the state. So on August 28th, we will send this money to the Department of Revenue, and they can claim it through unclaimed property.
All right, are there any questions for Diane?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Next, I'd like to invite Bob Maxwell up for the 2025-2026 Minimum Basic Ed Compliance Report.
Thank you very much. Again, I know you've seen this each year, but each year we have to ensure that we're meeting the total number of instructional hour offerings. You can see there that we do meet that using the district-wide average, which is 1066.89, 180 days a year. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that, but this is something that has to come to the board, and the board we have to ensure that we're meeting our instructional minutes, which we do.
And I did have a question on, sorry, Craig.
Go ahead.
The LMS time change,
Mhm.
is that happening this year where they'll
Yes.
catch up to everyone else?
Yep.
Okay, perfect,
Yep.
thank you. Sorry, Craig, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask basically the same question. Does everybody attend the 1071.67 hours? Because we have kids go to school at the same, I mean, even though it's only required 1042 at
Yeah, well, and because of sometimes different schedules as far as with the waiver days or with parent conferences, those types of things sometimes impact the number of total hours in a particular range.
okay.
Like at high school, they
The middle
don't,
school bell schedule trimmed off minutes each day though, does it not?
but it's back to.
But it did last, like, these numbers would reflect that.
Correct, they
trimmed
would,
off rate,
they would
yeah.
reflect that, yeah.
And that conference days count as contact days,
They-
even though that seems weird, but
It
that.
it does
they do
count as contact days, yeah. So,
Good question. Any other questions?
So just to clarify that, if the bell schedule's changed in Lincoln Middle School this upcoming year, are those hours not changed this upcoming year?
It was 10:22 last.
It was 10:22
Okay, so-
last year, so the
so
42 is
10:42.
more than it was last year, so it reflects
Okay.
that, yeah. Is that the question?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. If you went back and
I
looked
thought you
at,
said this number was gonna change.
no, this is the updated
That's
number.
updated.
Yeah,
so-
that was my misunderstanding,
Yeah.
I apologize. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Dr. Maxwell.
Okay, you're welcome.
Alrighty, and now I'd like to ask Ryan back up for the 2020 course design, selection, and adoption of instructional materials.
Oh,
Yeah.
It just fell off when you passed by it.
Okay, well, I've got 2 back-to-back, but I'll talk about them separately, but essentially, we have just some slight updates to board policy. We'll start with 2020 course design, selection, and adoption of instructional materials. This is to update us with changes in the recommended WASDA policy from April of 2025, Policy and Legal News. Policy 2020 has been aligned with the most recent WASDA sample policy, as you know, we like to do that. And these revisions reflect compliance with 2 engrossed substitute bills, which you can see there, ESB 5462 and ESHB 2231. For this one, the biggest change that I'd highlight is a new section in Part B, subsection 2, alternative core materials. And they decided they describe these as primary instructional materials for a given course used with a subset of students. These materials are intended to replace approved core materials and may be used for specialized course offerings and/or flexible learning environments. Where I would see this coming in hand, probably most applicable would be with maybe some ELL students, modern language learner students. So it's not just using supplemental materials, it's adopting or implementing substitute core materials.
Are there any questions for Ryan? All right, let's move to the next one, Ryan.
All right,
Thank
that
you.
was easy, thanks. Next one, along the same line, 2021 Library Information and Technology Programs. Again, this is Policy 2021 Library Information and Technology Programs, as highlighted in the WASDA April 2025 Policy and News. This has been aligned with the most recent, again, WASDA sample policy. Revisions reflect compliance with the same two engrossed bills that I just talked about. So, again, the changes in this one are just going to align with the librarian working with teachers in adopting and designing instructional materials and adding in digital citizenship for students. Unfortunately, that's it. Nothing more exciting.
No worries. Are there any questions for Ryan? Okay, thank you very
All
much,
right,
Ryan.
thank you.
All right, next we will move to 1101F2, Board Communication Protocols. So this procedure document came out of a discussion from our retreat in July, where we were talking about, it's a presentation I was giving on just basically all of the different communication policies that we have and the laws that we need to follow and the different protocols and the reporting processes and how it's sort of all over the place. You know, it's mentioned in various documents, contracts, policies, and so we kind of collaborated to then build a document that kind of summarizes all of our current information, and so that's what we're looking at today. And we did discuss this during our work session, so I know it's not the first time you've all seen it, so I won't like drill down, right? But in essence, we go through some of the various laws that regarding communication that we have to follow, and then we break out communication protocols and practices into internal and external communication. So the first one here, the table, is internal. And by internal, we mean like when a staff member contacts you, or a principal, or a student, or someone within the school district apparatus that has an issue, we would hope that, you know, board members past, present, and future can look at this document and say, oh, well, we have a policy that deals with that particular issue, and you can reference it right there. And so there's a couple of things I wanted to point out before we move on. You have a type on the side, which is the issue type. It's very broad. And then you have who is the initial point of contact, who's the next level. And so for like a building concern, for instance, you know, we put the first person you would contact if someone told you like kids were running in the hall, right, would be the building principal, to be like, hey, I was told, you know, the halls are a little bit rambunctious, right? And then if it continues to happen or you continue to notice things about it, you would then escalate that to the superintendent or, you know, then the board if it's appropriate. But we were really trying to clarify a lot of that knowledge that kind of remains in all of our heads but is never written out on what to do in various circumstances, right? So nothing is new, nothing is like created. It's all based on various policies and rules and whatnot that we have going on. So, and Courtney, could you go to the external really quick? So you have a variety of internal and then you have a variety of external communications. And so these are more like how we would deal with different entities, state, federal, and local, nonprofits, et cetera. Because we have had in the past, and this isn't so much defined in policy, this section, but more as in it's part of our practices that we would like to document, right? And so this would be stuff like, you know, for civic organizations, I think this is the current expectation as just demonstrated kind of in like the board protocols. But I honestly think some of these could use a bit of help, right? And so Courtney, could you go down to our table, please? One of the, oh, and I'm skipping a little bit, I'll go back to that. So one of the things that we were hoping to do for the community specifically, but also those civic organizations, is break them all out in a table, and we didn't want to do that until we talked, and like, you know, and honestly, I'd like to hear the groups that came to the high school thing, and any other groups you all want, right? But basically to outline the major different groups we deal with, and then kind of assign a board member as a liaison, right? And so that would look like Kiwanis, you know, would be Craig, and then, you know, the PEF or something, right? So like, basically going through all of these kind of big organizations that, you know, I think we talk to sometimes, but like, we haven't delegated someone to do that, right? And so our hope here was we could kind of assign it so that anytime there was something going on with that particular group, there would be a board member kind of in, you know, in charge of it, right? Just because right now it's we have to wait till we meet, and then we have to discuss who wants to do it, and it's a very long thing. And so this is hopefully gonna allow us to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more responsive in a little bit quicker fashion, right? And then Courtney, could you please go up to the paragraphs I skipped? Thank you. Right there. And then here is just some standards from WASDA. This is stuff, we put a link to the document in here. I just wanted to bring it out. This is a really great document that gives you some sort of like best practices, I would say, for board communication. And so I would encourage you all to review. And if you have any questions, kind of, we should talk about them, because I think this is really a great document that deals with board member specific stuff that you might not think about, right? But yeah, gonna leave it open to discussion. Are there any questions or, oh, and there's one more thing. Lisa, you had mentioned the communication officer. I had mentioned that as well. We did some research, and we actually could not find a single instance of a board member serving in that role. Generally, it's the chair and the superintendent. The district will provide like a draft communication sometimes that the president will then approve. But usually when a district moves to the point of needing a communication officer, it seems like they hire a person to do that, right? Yeah, because for obvious reasons, right? So it seems like districts that are smaller and can't really afford a role specifically dedicated to communication, it's kind of handled between the chair and the superintendent, just generally. And then I think when it rises to the level of being, you know, something that a professional needs to take care of, they usually hire a spot for it, right? So what we were thinking is to include the vice chair as sort of a stopgap for that, because I think that needs some more exploration as far as the idea. But maybe saying that, like, you know, the chair, if there's a communication situation, right, where like there's just a lot of communication, that they would work with the associate vice chair to be like, hey, can you know, here's the message, can you send it out to all these folks or something? And so trying to just kind of burden share a little bit whenever things get too much, right? Because I think sometimes it's fine, and then sometimes it's, you know, it leads to a bit of a lag in response times. So that is it. Now, please go.
Yeah, can I
go ahead.
respond to that?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's really good. I do think, you know, this document does a really good job of trying to address some really like diverse issues that we've had. You know, one of them is about communication channels. One is like workload for our board when all of us have many other things we're doing in our lives. Some of it's not trying, you know, making sure that we are respecting all the district staff while also staying engaged, right? So I think this is really helpful for outlining those roles. And I also think like the liaison role we've talked about, we already have that with the schools. I do think that could be really useful to expand with the civic groups or other, even topics, like,
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
you know,
Think
like
of that,
last
yeah.
year we knew just like the aquatic center was going to be something that we were gonna talk about a number of times. We had listening sessions. We could have designated one of us to be like, you know what, when we get emails, you're gonna be the
Point person on
aquatic
X,
center
yep.
point person. And that way it would just take a little bit off your plate and allow us to kind of develop some expertise and also like continuity. Because a lot of times we get an email, it takes a while to respond. Really what people want is a conversation where we can go back and forth a little bit. So I think if it allows us to do that in a way that still is orderly and clear to each other, that's great.
Okay. I'll say we were already planning on doing, and so I would say you don't have to list them off right now, but send me tonight or soon a list of civic organizations you think should be included. And then we'll aggregate that list and put it in the table. We might remove or add, but like I'll justify any of those, and then we can talk in our action item session, right? One more thing, and then go ahead, Lisa, and then I'll.
I was just gonna say, I would definitely want to get Bob's feedback on that too, to make sure that we're not adding a liaison role with something where somebody else in the district already works with them all the time. And we
It'll
we don't
mostly
need
be
to-
him anyways.
Yeah, we don't need to step in any of that if that's already happening well. But also like, we would probably entertain invitations, right? It's like if there's a civic group that is interested. in
Oh, yeah,
having
and being,
point
having a
person.
more formalized relationship, to where
Yeah,
there's someone they
that
can
that's
talk to
something
and
we could
things.
be open to adding as it comes up.
Oh, definitely, and something like that can be added just as an informational item, like, hey, we added another committee to the thing, and then if anyone has an issue, they can pull it off, right? But like, usually that's something that's like, oh, hey, we forgot the League of Women Voters or something, right? But no, that's a good point. And then for the topics, let me think about that, because my goal with this was really to just summarize current practices and not like get into changes, because that's a whole nother conversation, right? And so I'll think on some language. Courtney, she can help me, and then we'll bring it back next time and see what we got. We'll definitely have a table with the organizations, and then we'll see if we can't put in some things about topical, because I like that idea, right? Like, because that's usually how things flare up, is topically, right? Like, no, please,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I don't think it's something we need to say like right away, like these are the topics we think are gonna.
No,
be,
like
but it'd
when
be good to
topics
just-
come like a board chair will assign topics to, this is kind of how I was imagining it. It would be like, board chair assigns topics as needed to board members who, either volunteer or have a specialty or some special interest, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so
Well,
that, go ahead.
I just see it as like a baton too, so then if you're like, you know what, the next month at work for me is crazy, like I can't do this anymore, you can
that's a
hand
good
it off
point,
to
yeah.
somebody else without losing any of those, making sure we're not dropping the ball somewhere.
No, these are all good thoughts. Anybody else? Thoughts, questions? No? Oh, yeah, please.
Sorry,
Aaron.
yeah.
Go
Just as
ahead.
I was looking at this, I wonder, I don't know, just since we're clarifying a lot of different issues here, if it wouldn't be good to add if a concern's brought, like about the board. Right, so like if I hear something about a board or a board member was doing something weird, that would need to go to the board president to be addressed or brought up on.
Oh, that's a good point.
Does
We
that
can
make
put that
sense?
as
Just-
another, like,
I mean, a lot of these are like about
Type,
the
right.
districts, and the districts are buildings, right? But there could be a potential time when somebody was like, hey, I saw this board member acting inappropriately, or, an administrator was like, hey, this board member keeps showing up at random times and wanting X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like, something like that we might just need to add.
no, that's a good
One
point.
of those in there, that those concerns would go, I assume, to the board president, to then be addressed with the board member, or,
Okay.
whatever, whether it's an individual member, whether it's protocol that the board's following or not following, or, something like that, just to
Mhm.
cover,
And if I recall, there might be a policy on that, so.
yeah.
I remember it mentioned,
If not, I
like
know
it's a
other,
sanction or something,
other
like,
boards have policies. so
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I think that's a.
Yeah, just like I said, that way, I think, that was just one that I saw that might be missing.
No, that's a good
to add and
observation.
clarify.
Yeah, that's good.
Craig, do you have any? Okay. All right, now, we'll have it in 2 weeks again, so if anything comes to mind between now and then, please feel free to share. I'll take it as kind of action items for myself to add the table. If you guys, I know some of the organizations, but I'm curious to see what y'all think too. So if I don't hear anything, I'm just gonna do my best guess, but I'd appreciate a list from each so that I can kind of see where, what's in y'all's head as well, right? But no, I'll get the table in there, work on some language for topical assignments, because I like that idea. And then we'll just kind of check it out next time, so, cool? Okay, nice. Next, we'll move to informational items. They do not require action or discussion by the board. Would anyone like to remove any informational items this evening? Okay, we will just move right on then to executive session. The board will recess into an executive or closed session by motion stating how long it will last and if action will be taken. Following executive or closed session, the board president will convene the regular meeting. Bob, how long are we going to need for executive session?
I would say 15 minutes.
15 minutes. All right, then I'd say we'll be back at 7:35. That gives us 5 minutes to clear out, so, sounds good?
No action will be taken.
And no action will be taken, absolutely. All right,